see one of my hairs there. Pull it out before it gets thingied in. Hello everyone, it's Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. I am just doing a little bit of this bag here to show you what I've been doing, because it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon now and I only do this in the morning, but I was just doing a little bit of this to show you what I have been doing with it. And as you can see, I'm doing a band of different colour around. It's the same colours I'm using, the blue and the white, only I've taken the navy out and added an extra ball of white to put a band around until I get up to the part where I do the handles, because that's all the navy I have left, and I'm not sure whether there'll be enough to do all of this as well as the handles as well. So I've decided to put a band in the middle before I start the armholes, because I want this to measure from when it's down flat, because it has got a flat bottom on it, but when it is completely folded and flat, I want it to measure from there up to here 14 inches. It's up to 13 inches now, so I have about another inch to do. So I'll probably do about another half an inch in this and then change to the navy and do the other half an inch and then put the handles on. And it's quite handy at the moment, because as you can see, I've got the balls of wool inside. I can work with the wool inside the bag. It's a lot easier than having them rolling around on the floor, picking up every hair that drops out of my head, because that's what happens. My hair ends up getting wound in with the crochet and the knitting as well. So I'm going to put this down because I've been doing this morning, but I've just done a little bit this afternoon to show you what I've been doing. So I'll put that hook back inside the bag so it doesn't get lost, and drop all the wool down to one side and fold it in half, and that'll be left until tomorrow morning. With a bit of luck I might get it finished tomorrow. So I'm just putting that down under my coffee table at the moment, and this is my little green blackberry stitch cardigan I was doing. It's all finished, and all the instructions are written down for that size, ready for me doing the PDF. So that one's finished, and I have just started. This is the 22 inch. I have just started doing this one. So after I've done this one, I'll only have the 20 inch and the 18 inch to do before I can start working out the PDF. But this one, I am doing a tutorial for my other channel on this one from start to finish. And I don't know whether I'll be able to put it up all in one go, because it does take quite a bit of time to explain about how to do this stitch and what you have to do. But I've done a few little bits ready, and I've shown like, you know, what needles I'm using and how many stitches I've cast on, and I have been showing what I have it all written down here, what I'm doing, all the different sizes, and I have been showing this on the tutorial as well. So I might put this up a piece at a time. When I do the back, finish the back, I might place just a tutorial for the back as part 1, and then do the fronts as part 2 and the sleeves as part 3, because I think it's probably going to take a lot longer than a simple pattern that I don't have to explain a lot to. So that's what I'll be doing in the meantime anyway. But this morning I received a card from Lynn, the lady that sent me the last Happy Meal with the wool. I have opened this up and had a look, and I'm going to show you. She sent this to me. It's for my birthday, but my birthday is not until April 21st, so it's arrived here in plenty of time. And something I noticed, doing the same as I do, a little bit of a cornflake packet. No, this is Rice Krispies. To keep the cards, anything I send out, because I print out some of my patterns sometimes and send them out, and I put a bit of card in to keep the stop the pattern from bending and folding. So that's an idea I've given to somebody. So I'll put that there. There was an envelope, that must be for to send the card out, but she sent it in a different envelope here. It's got a bow on. I've already opened it all up, but I've put it back together, and I'm going to show you this because it's a lovely card. If I can get this bow off. And like I said, my birthday's not till April 21st, so there is quite a number of weeks before I'll be hanging on to this until then. And it says, to Sheila, hope you have a lovely birthday. Keep the videos coming. Everyone loves them, Lynn. So I'm going to show you. I've never seen a card like this one before. All the pieces fold down on it. Well, that's the back. It's got happy birthday, Sheila on there, and there's buttons there. There's 2 buttons on. That side there's a ball of wool, and that other side is a pair of scissors. And then on the back it says happy birthday, the stars and things, and there's it's hard to keep it open there. There's ball of wool with the needles inside, knitting. You can't see it very well there, but there's knitting on needles there, and knitting on needles at the back as well. So that's a very unusual card. So I'm going to put that away until my birthday. I fold it back up again. I think that's lovely, that card's very unusual. I'm going to wrap it up and put it back in the envelope to keep it in a good state until my birthday. If I can get that ribbon back where it was, that's it. Yeah, I think the ribbon goes up the top to keep the fold down parts in. I put the envelope and the card and everything back in the envelope. So thank you very much, Lynn. That's in plenty of time for my birthday. And I'm going to tell you a little story about my birthday. This to do with my youngest son, Ian. He's actually, he'll be 49 this year actually. He was born in 1974. So I'll do a little bit knitting while I am telling you this. My youngest son, Ian, used to go to a quiz night with some friends. I think there used to be about 5 of them. And they were always pretty good with these quizzes. They used to win quite a lot. And there was this night, his 4 friends came calling for him, and they were going to go somewhere. And while they were waiting of him, they were in my living room, and we were just chatting and that. And one of them, I think his name was Scott. This is a long time. I'm talking over 20 years ago, probably about 30 years ago. Scott said to me, "Did Ian tell you about our quiz last night?" I said, "No, he hasn't said anything. What about the quiz?" "Well, you lost the quiz last night through him." "What do you mean you lost the quiz through him?" "Well, it was his fault." And I said, "Why was it his fault?" And Ian came downstairs at the time, and he seen to him, "You shut up, Scott, don't you tell my mum." So I said, "Come on now," I says, "you started something, I want to know what's going on here." And Scott says, "We lost the quiz by 1 point through Ian." I said, "Well, come on, let me in on the secret. How did you lose the quiz through Ian? Did you give a wrong answer?" And Scott says, "You didn't even give an answer." I says, "Oh, well, if you didn't give an answer, that must be why I got it wrong." But he said, "Well, I'll tell you why." He said one of the questions we had was asking, when was the Queen's birthday? And we had to put the, we got a point. There was 3 points to this part of the question. We had to put the date, the month and the year. And he said, when we seen the questions, he says, Ian suddenly piped up and he said, my mum's birthday is the same day as the Queen's. And they were all saying, well, come on then, when's your mum's birthday? At least we'll get 2 points for it, because we don't know what year she was actually, they was wanting to know the year the Queen was born. And he's thinking, and he says, I know that my mum's 20 years younger than the Queen, because she always says the Queen's 20 years older than her. And I was saying, well, come on, when's your mum's birthday? I can't remember. They were going to kill him. She couldn't remember when my birthday was, and I said, well, that's not surprising. I says, I don't think I've ever had a card off him. I says, even when they were little, the cards used to come off their dad. They never bought them. It was their dad bought it. And I says, being my birthday being the same day as the Queen's, I says, should have given them an insight, should have been easily recognisable when my birthday was, Ian. And he said, well, I know it's the same as day as the Queen's, but he says, I don't know when the Queen's is, so I don't know when yours is. Oh my God. They were going to kill him, they said, the lads and the thing, because he couldn't remember when my birthday was. And they were calling him all sorts in my house and seeing how thick he was and everything. So I suddenly piped up and I said, you know, you lot, there was 4 of them boys. I says, come on, you 4, all tell me when your mother's birthday is. And not one of them could tell me when their mother's birthday was. So I says, you's the kettle calling the frying pan, aren't you? And one of the lads was standing there and he brought a carrier bag out from his back. He says, yeah, Mrs. Smith, for your birthday, there's a card, he says, and there's a big box of chocolates from all us boys here. Because he says, we never knew when your birthday was, but the best thing about this quiz was, it was April the 20th, the quiz, and it was because it was the Queen's birthday the next day. That was why they had it in the quiz. So at least I got a card and a box of chocolates off all those boys. But I never let my son forget that. Whenever I see him, you know, when it's near my birthday time, I always say, remember, Ian, the Queen's birthday, it'll be my birthday. I hope you know when it is now. I'm not so sure, because it's very rare I get a card off him. Even when his dad was alive and they were grown up, I still used to get a card, but it was always from him, not from them, from the 3 boys. But anyway, I'd been at my granddaughter's yesterday, and I remembered I had this little thing I was knitting. I kept forgetting about it, actually. So I finished this off. Well, I had already done the back. It's going to be a little boy's V-neck cardigan. It's the 3x1 mock rib. You can see where the rib goes down on the inside. And I done the back finished, and then I done one of the sides. I done the sides while I was at my granddaughter's yesterday. And I am in the middle of knitting the other side. Well, I got it untangled from here. I've got it untangled with my other knitting here. And I just noticed something when I was doing this. They are matching, and I never matched them up. It was the way I finished one side and started the other side, and you can see from the rib, the 2 fronts are going to match up perfect there. And that was wonderful the way that came out, because I've done things like this before and I've cut little bits of wool out here and there to make them match like that, because I prefer this, just especially the fronts, to match. And I thought when I was knitting this one, I'll not do that. I'll just do it the way it's meant to be knitted, this wool, and that was the way the fronts knitted up. I'll probably only do it on this size. Probably if I was doing, because I do have a couple of balls of this. If I'm doing another one, I'm probably going to have to cut pieces out a different size to make the fronts match. Because the backs, well, naturally the back is, you know, the stripes aren't as wide because it's more pieces. And I'm not sure what size this will be. I started it as an 18-inch. But I think it's maybe a little bit wider. It might be about a 19-inch when I finish this one. So that was another little one I've been doing. But I'll put that one down because I'm just doing that one now and again when I want to get these ones done for the PDF I'm doing first. Put that down in my bag there. So I'm going to do a little bit of this and then carry on with a little bit of my own, which I'll get round to doing a bit more. I seem to be putting that to one side again, but I'm going to have to. So these ones here will not take quite so long because the sizes are getting smaller. As that was my intention, starting off with the larger size and doing a smaller size as I went down the thing. But this pattern here, I'm working this one out myself. I'm working out my own pattern. I have a pattern down here. This is a King Cole one. I think it was Sandra. Yes, it was Sandra that sent this to me. And there's a lot of things in this pattern I do not like. I don't know if you can see on the front how the band sort of bows out. The number of stitches. They have far too many stitches that they pick up on the front for the band, and the band bows out. They have a lot of extra stitches that when they do the ribs, this part down the bottom here, when they do these ribs, they put a lot more stitches on, and then when you come to do this part here, you have to decrease across the rib, and that makes the ribs wider than this part, and I do not like that on the pattern. And then I noticed something else when I was knitting this, well, not this one, the other one. After I got the back done, after I'd done the rib, I wanted it to measure 9.5 inches, or nearly 10 inches anyway, but it was 9.5 inches. So when I finished the rib, I measured from here up to there, and it was 8.5 inches. And that 8.5 inches, the number of rows that I did was 85 rows, or 84 or 85 rows. Well, that makes the tension 10 rows to the inch, or 40 rows to a 4 inch. Now on this pattern here, it tells you the tension, 20 stitches and 28 rows to 4 inches. According to them, you only need 7 rows to an inch. Now that just does not work out right to me. Especially seeing as I've had to do 10 rows, because this pattern, when you're knitting it, there's a lot more rows to the inch than you do with normal plain knitting, because you're dropping a stitch down and picking stitches up. So they've made a mistake, and if people following that and expecting their tension to come out, what it says there is all wrong. I just do not like this pattern. That's why I started doing my own and working out my own instructions for it. So that's another little rant on about patterns that don't work out right. It's probably the hook knitting if you just go by inches, but if you're going by rows, you would never get it right. So anyway, I'm going to do a little bit more of this knitting, and then I'll be sorting something out for my tea, and then doing a little bit of my own for a change tonight, seeing as I've got one finished. I'm not putting that up on my shop until I've done all of these for the PDF, because I don't want to put 1 or 2 things up at a time. I want to wait until I've got quite a few and put them up on. It'll be my eBay shop when I do put them up. So that's my little bit for today. So thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you all another day. So bye for now.